guys, and welcome back to my sewing vlog She Loves to Make. A while ago now I promised you a little tour of my sewing corner because of all the changes to the organisation, storage, some of the equipment that I've purchased, Trolley, and also my pegboards from Ikea. So I'm going to talk you through all of the shelves and the drawer under the bed with all the patterns. So if you want to grab a cup of tea, this would be a good time to pause the video, go and put the kettle on, come back and relax and sit back and enjoy a tour of my sewing space. Here's a picture of the before and I'm going to show you after. Around the space so you can see the bits and pieces that I've added to the sewing space. So you can just see a glimpse of my socialite bag there, looking good on the back of my bedroom door. Over here is my lovely Hobbycraft trolley with accessories. So as you can see, there's this really nice tray that sits in the top for bits and pieces. So these are for the projects that I'm working on at the moment. And I've got some other elastics and bobbins and things that I need, which are immediately kind of there for me to grab when I'm sewing. And I've got some cut pieces, so I've got an Ogden cami cut out there and some other bits and pieces, small projects that need sewing up. Then I've got, I'm a bit of a hoarder for carrier bags, so I've got lots of little carrier bags that I've picked up for storing fabric scrap. I've also got my, this is for pressing fabric, so to protect the fabric underneath. It's not a pressing cloth, but it's some kind of protective coated plastic. I think I bought that one at Poundland, so that was really good value. And then in here I've got some scissors, so my little snips, and also my pattern notching tool. So if you haven't heard about pattern notchers, I only heard about them when I went to a pattern cutting course and used them for putting notches in my patterns there. But I think they're just brilliant for putting notches in normal patterns as well, and they're so satisfying to use. I think that was about £6 or £7 from Amazon, but yeah, I would recommend getting one of those rather than snipping into your paper. And then I've got a bunch of, this is all my repairs to do, so zips to put in. They're not all big projects, they're just little things, and I prefer to make new things than repair, so I've put them there in the hope that I will get round to them and actually get on with it. Finally, on the bottom shelf of my trolley there, I've got my little owl pin cushion and the I Am Cassiope dress, which I've cut out. So there's the pattern pieces as well. So I'm really excited to get that one sewn up, and it does look like a really straightforward pattern, so touch wood. So I've got my lovely sewing chair here. So this was given to me by my mum. It was her office chair and she sort of upgraded, and it's just the perfect little size for me, and it fits nicely under the desk and it looks really stylish, so I really like this one. So yeah, recommend that one. I can't remember where it was from, probably Very, but a long time ago. Obviously here's the desk, and I talked about the sewing machines. I've also got this device, the Echo Show, for keeping me occupied when I'm sewing, so I often have YouTube playing on that. I won't say the A word because she'll answer me back, but it's really useful to be able to play music and to have news updates and things whilst you're sewing, and you can just ask for them and not have to really change anything that you're doing or put anything down. I've got storage here, this lovely tin from Tiger for my clips, my sewing clips when I'm using kind of slippery fabrics, and then this is just another storage for haberdashery and things. this lovely tray with cherries on. I tend to use to put under the overlocker, so I don't have a bin to catch the overlocker spaghetti, as I like to call it. So I use this, but I also just put down things that I'm using. So this is my Motex retro label writer, and you can get these on Amazon, and you can make really kind of retro labels for your storage boxes and things. So that's something that I've done in the past, and it's really cool, but it does take a while to get used to threading the tape in, and sometimes it can get stuck. So yeah, if you're not patient, probably best to get a more modern one, but I like this one. And then over here I've got this lovely storage tin, cute as a button, which was bought for me, and it's full of sewing threads. So yeah, lots of extra sewing threads there. So those are the ones that I'm not using. And then over here I've got more threads that I'm going to be using soon on the left hand side. And then I've got pins, washi tape and some glue rollers for when I'm doing card making, which is occasionally. And then just behind I've got my rotary cutter blades and my tailor's chalk. And then up here, as you can see, I've got all my other kind of useful tools for sewing the smaller ones, so like the point turner and fabric markers and so on, just in arm's reach, which is fantastic. And up here, my scissors and my pinking shears. Got this lovely little embroidery hoop with this beaded E, which my friend Helen made me, which is gorgeous, and still it just means a lot that she put all that work into it, and I still look at it and think, wow, that's amazing, I love that. Then I've got more sewing patterns, so these are ones that I sort of want to make fairly soon, or just look nice. And my little card, Makers HQ, which is a fashion business here in Plymouth, and they do a lot of workshops and training, but they also make up patterns for the fashion industry as well, so they're really interesting, so do check them out on Instagram. And then up here I've got this was my postcard that I got when I went to the Yves Saint Laurent museum. So these are kind of drawings, illustrations by Yves Saint Laurent with fabric swatches, which were lovely to see live there in the exhibition. But here's a little takeaway memento that I kept, and these are more swatches and stickers and things that I'm meaning to use. So this is just to remind me, by keeping them here, that they're ready to go when I need them. And as I mentioned earlier, so needles, bobbins and machine press feet as well. So moving on to this corner, I have my bodice blocks from my pattern cutting workshop hung up. There were some changes that were made, so I do need to trace around those onto card again, so I've got them sort of finally made up in the correct shape with the darts correct, so they did have to be adjusted. And then up here I've got my little wrist pin cushion. I've got lots of pin cushions, I kind of collect them, but this is another really cool one that sits on my wrist and is so handy to use. And over here I have a bunch of storage boxes. So these are all from, on the top shelf, they're all from Dunelm Mill. And then I've got some storage tins on the left hand side of that second shelf down there, that are from Cath Kidston. So if I pan in a bit closer you can see these are for storing threads, buttons and pins, and they are really super cute. They were from Cath Kidston a long time ago. I've kept them because they're just so special. They feel like a real one-off, and I've always loved books, so it's kind of a way of bringing that into the sewing room. These cute boxes, I think they're still available online as well. Little suitcases, so I keep my interfacing, haberdashery, elastics, those sorts of things in those. And this was a little tag I got at an event, at a dinner, with my name on, so I thought I would keep that. Lots of buttons and some cute little Cath Kidston scissors in a holder. They really are a showpiece, so I don't tend to use them very much for sewing, just keep them on show. And this lovely ribbon and lace box was bought for me as a present for Christmas by my mum and dad, and this is so handy for just pulling out what you need, snipping it off, and they're all kept protected from the dust and things. I've had this sewing box for years, and it's not got very much in it now, but it's so pretty. I like to keep it sort of just for show, so open it up. You can see there's just a few odds and ends in there, labels and buckles and things, just in case they'd be useful. I always tend to keep things just in case they'd be useful, and sometimes that is the case. A lot of the time it just sits there, but it's nice to have. You never know. A bit like the carrier bags, really. In this box I've got some fabric that I've bought that's still in the plastic, so it's ready for pre-washing, and some bias binding that my mum's given me for making some more masks. And then I've got this lace that I found, I've forgotten that I had, which is like a vintage lace for edging sort of underwear, things like that. So I thought I would try and use that in some way. And then in these bags here, I have various crafty kits in there. At the moment I've got a Sew Llama keyring set. I have shoulder pads, a cherry print, and I've got these little cuffs for when I make a sweatshirt, which will happen at some point. And then in here I've just got lots of pattern paper, so that's folded up, ready to use when I want to cut or trace patterns. Just down here I have my little printer, which is good when it works, and over here I've got some more patterns that I want to make fairly soon. So these are the patterns I talked about on my last vlog, but I'm also needle felting a unicorn, as you do. So I've started with the body. So this is just a little small project, evening project to do, which is kind of a palette cleanser from sewing. Just down here I have more equipment, so I've got my glue gun, printer cartridges, glues, and my little sewing travel bag. So that was from Dunelm Mill. I used that a lot last year going to the sewing weekend and other events, but I haven't this time around, so for obvious reasons. So hopefully I'll get to use that a bit more later in the year or next year. And then I've got tons and tons of magazines, sewing magazines, which I rarely use actually. I'm considering whether I get rid of those, because I could put more folders in with PDF patterns and that would enable me to have more storage. However, some of those patterns I'd probably never get again, so if I did want to go back and make some of them, yeah, they wouldn't be available. So I'm keeping them for now, but that's under review. And then over here I've got tons of sewing books and sewing techniques guides there. So I've got a lot of the Great British Sewing Bee books. And then over here I've got lots of tech, little box there with my nail varnishes in. And then this run, as I said earlier, is great for books and stationery and things, so I've got lots of those sorts of things along here, and that's more notebooks. I do like a notebook, so I'm a bit mad for stationery. And then up here, my favourite, still my favourite postcard framed, is "I may look like I'm listening to you, but in my head I'm sewing," and quite often that is what I'm doing. I'm thinking about the next thing I'm going to sew mid something else where I should be concentrating. And over here is ribbons in a jar, and the label, interestingly, for that was made with my Motex label writer. So if you're wondering what that looks like with a label produced, then that's what it looks like. Up here are some more Cath Kidston sewing bag. So this is just a zip case for things, and this is an actual sewing kit in this cute rose print, which is great. And my white overlocker threads up there as well. And again, more boxes, mostly from Dunelm. The brown one just came in the post, and if we come down below, just zoom in on the letters there that say craft. So I bought those stickers from Hobbycraft, and you can still get them, I believe, and they're great for just labelling up boxes. And I decided to put them on the side so I could change if I wanted to, so put labels in the front at any point. But I just think they're really cute on these Dunelm boxes. And if I move down, I've got cards for card making, my art box, so that's mainly got paints and pastels in it. And the box is actually from Joules, so it was a Joules shoebox. So I love their kind of packaging, they do really nice packaging, so, but I think you wouldn't really know it was a shoebox. It's a good one. And then this kind of box, wooden box, I decoupaged. It's a little project, and it looks really, really nice with the buttons and the ribbon attached. So I mainly use that for storing bias binding, zips, buttons, ribbons, those sorts of things that aren't on reels. And then just below that I've got a little kit for cross stitch, so my friend Kelly bought that for me. So that's a crafty pin-up kit. So at some point, I've not really done much cross stitch, my sister is really good at it. I have never tried, well, since school I haven't tried to do cross stitch, so I might have a go at that. Might look nice in my sewing space. And then the clear plastic box is just full of printer paper, which is not very exciting, but essential. And then just down here I've got some more books and my little button pot, so I tend to put special buttons in here. We've all got a special button jar. So these are vintage buttons just in there. Some of them are off clothes that I've had years ago. Some of them are just, you know, favourites. Ones that you pick up and think, that's special. I bought some in Paris as well, so there's some of those in there, like one-offs. And then down here I've just got some cushion filler, and then I keep some paperwork there, which is quite boring, but you've got to put it somewhere, haven't you? And lastly, my mannequin, my lady valet. So this was a present too, because I think my family quite quickly realised I was totally obsessed with sewing, and this would be a great way to keep me occupied. So this at the moment is a blouse that I am working on, which was self-drafted, so I'm not going to give too much away because I want to save it for a great surprise, but it's in this beautiful blue Atelier brunette fabric from Make It 140. I will pop a link in the description to Make It 140 in case they have any left. I hope they do. So yeah, that's my sewing corner. Now I've also got some storage for patterns under my bed. So here we go. Ta-da! I hope everyone has got one of these. This is my sewing pattern drawer. So I've got patterns stored in order of the brand just here. So you can see I've wrapped them in kind of a plastic storage container, which is zipped and it's got a handle on the front there, and that was from Dunelm Mill. The drawer is actually from Ikea, and it's one of the higher bed frame drawers that they sell. I think it was 2 for £50, something like that, which is really, really reasonable. And I've also got some fabric, so this is my coat fabric eventually that I'm going to make, so that's also in a similar storage bag wrapped under the bed. So I had no idea how much harm dust can do to patterns and to fabric, and now I do. I've taken steps to sort it out. So there you go. So I hope you all enjoyed that behind the scenes look at my sewing corner, my patterns, all of the crafting equipment that I keep stashed ready for use when I have a quiet moment to do some sewing or other crafting. And it's been really nice at the moment to step into this little oasis of calm and do some making. If you are interested in anything I've talked about in this video that I haven't already shared a link to in the description below, then just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Do let me know if you'd like to see other specific videos from me. Leave a comment likewise, and I'll try and get those filmed for next time. I'm hoping to do a make some plans vlog again in the next couple of weeks. I hope you're all safe and well, staying safe at home, and that you get to do some fun things. and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.